Hi, everybody, and welcome back to the Plot Genie. I'm really excited to dive into this topic. I know it's maybe a little clickbaity, perfect book, whatever, but we're going to I really want to simplify and make this super easy about how to get a good book out, right? I want to walk you through this process, 7 steps to just help you nail your plot, your subplot, and your hook before you even write a single word. Doing this pre-planning is really, really going to help you save so much time, and it's going to help you just remind yourself what you're doing in the first place, why you're writing what you're writing, so you don't really have to stress out about what comes next or anything like that. This is the exact system that I use when I need to write fast, but still deliver a story that hooks the readers, keeps the tension high, and makes the emotional payoff hit hard. So let's dive in. Step number one, start with your premise. Your premise is basically your what if statement. It's the core idea that makes your book worth reading. Ask yourself, what if your character had to do something impossible in order to achieve a deeply personal goal? Here are a few examples I came up with. What if a mafia heir fell for the witness he was supposed to silence? What if a grumpy hockey captain had to marry his rival's sister to save his career? Things like that. So start here. One strong premise can carry a whole series. And here's a quick tip, make your premise emotionally loaded. I don't think enough authors really take the time to consider the emotional aspect of your story, but stakes matter and specifics matter when it comes to just coming up with your premise, okay? All right, so step two, define the hook. Your hook is what gets people to read page one, essentially. It's not just the premise, it's the specific problem your character walks into right away. So think a murder on page one, a wedding goes wrong, an act of intimacy, or a forbidden kiss caught on camera. The hook is the oh no or the oh yes moment that makes the reader sit up straight. Ask yourself, what is the first irreversible thing that's going to happen? This is your hook. And remember, you're going to pair this with your premise. Okay, so step three, nail your character arc. Before we even talk plot, let's talk growth. Who is your character at the start of the story, and who are they going to become? What lie do they believe? What fear holds them back? And what do they want versus what do they actually need? Remember, plot is just the vehicle. Character growth is the actual destination. So tie your arc to your theme. If your story is about power, maybe your character starts off powerless or afraid of what they're capable of. One of the themes that I found myself really kind of almost repeating in a lot of my urban fantasy is that my heroine can be a little emotional. Like she reacts before she has time to process. And she always looked at her emotions as something that she either had to control or she couldn't just grasp or anything, and that they made her weak, they made her vulnerable, and they weren't really like a good thing. But the magic that she has is actually tied to her emotions. And so, if anything, the emotions amplify them. And so the theme was essentially accepting all of you, accepting all parts of yourself, sort of like that. So, if you're talking about what lie do they believe, well, I'm a weak person. I'm emotional. What fear holds them back? I'm worried I'm going to ruin this relationship because I'm too much for people to handle. What do they want? They want to be the embodiment of the perfect girlfriend, or they want to, um, hunt all the pirate mages or whatever, versus what do they need? They need to accept themselves. They need to love themselves, that sort of thing. So that was just like a quick example. So step four, you're going to build your plot skeleton. You don't need a 100 scene beat sheet, so don't worry. You need these 5 moments. So the inciting incident. So this is the moment where everything changes. This is your trigger. So your stakes are escalate and your character makes a bold move. This is essentially you're leaving act one, you're going into act two. If you're writing a cozy, this is when the sleuth decides, all right, I'm going to solve this, that sort of thing. So the third one is your midpoint. So it's new information, new stakes, new momentum. Sometimes it's a complete 180. So if if your trajectory of your character is going up and they're training, they're learning all of this magic, then the midpoint could be a betrayal. The midpoint could be something that knocks him down. It could be a false victory. It could be a false defeat, that sort of thing. For romance, I like to make it where the dynamics of the relationship shift. And it doesn't necessarily have to be physical, but it could be the reality of, oh, I love this person. This was not supposed to happen. Or it could be a kiss, whatever. So your fourth one is your dark moment, all seems lost. And your fifth one is your climax. This is where all of the stakes meet, the tension, it just explodes. Your final battle, the choice, the confrontation, that sort of thing. So plug in your character and your premise utilizing this quick plot skeleton and let the structure shape your chaos, essentially. So a quick tip, write 1 to 2 sentences for each beat. So your inciting incident, your trigger, your midpoint, your black moment or dark moment, and your climax. Don't overthink it yet. Okay, so your fifth step, step 5, choose 1 to 2 subplots. So subplots are going to deepen your main plot. Pick 1 or 2 that reflect the theme, challenge your character, and introduce emotional or external tension. So here are a few examples. A romantic subplot that tests your hero's priorities, a secret identity subplot that raises stakes in every chapter, or even a mystery of who killed her brother, or why did her father sell her to the beast to pay off the debts? And now the father is trying to get her back, that sort of thing. Subplots equal the flavor, right? We don't want to let that hijack your main course, but we do want to amplify what it tastes like. So, step 6, you want to layer in universal fantasies. If you haven't read Seven Figure Fiction by T. Taylor, definitely pick that up. This is what I am referring to, universal fiction. This is the secret sauce to a bingeable book. Universal fantasies are the emotional promises your book makes, like enemies who become obsessed lovers, found family for a lonely hero, revenge on the people who hurt you. So think about it like this. We have tropes, right? And a lot of people get tropes and universal fantasies mixed up. The trope is the structure, but that universal fantasy is the actual scene, like what actually happens. So if it's the one bed, okay, well, that's a trope, but it's okay, he is going to offer her the bed and she is going to insist that she is an adult and they can totally sleep on the bed. Or it's the moment when they wake up and her head is on the shoulder and he, is playing with her hair or whatever. But kind of those, if you notice that little bit of expectation of like, oh my gosh, it's one bed, which means. And whatever comes after which means, that's usually that universal fantasy. So pick 1 to 3 and make sure that they show up in your hook, your plot, and your character arc. Remember, T. Taylor goes into a lot more depth. She has a course that I've taken. It's all really, really good. But if you can utilize universal fantasies in every single one of your chapters, that's great. But remember, this is just a quick blueprint. So just pick 1 to 3 that pop out and make sure they show up in your hook, your plot, and your character arc. I know I said that. I just wanted to repeat it to make sure that you understand how important it is. So ask, what does your ideal reader daydream about when it comes to this particular genre? Okay. And your last step, you want to brainstorm 5 set piece scenes. So what do I mean by this? Set pieces are the big moments that readers are going to remember and probably highlight. So think the first kiss, the betrayal, the confrontation, the reveal, the sacrifice. Potentially, they are the scenes that you might offer as teasers. You need to write what those might be down as anchors. They're going to help guide the pacing and the emotional payoff. And they're going to help you with your universal fantasies as well. These are the scenes you build your teaser posts, like I said, and launch your strategy around as well. So, here is the perfect book blueprint in 7 steps. Just to reiterate, your premise, your hook, your character arc, your plot skeleton, your subplots, your universal fantasies, and your set piece scenes. This method is fast, it's flexible, and designed for authors who want to stop overthinking and just start writing. So, if you found this helpful, hit the like, comment, and subscribe. What is your favorite trope to plot around? For me, it's age gap, forbidden romance. What's yours? And if this is helpful to you and you want to take this and now plot it in a weekend, guess what? I have a Kickstarter. I have launched 2 books on Kickstarter, craft books, and they will talk about how to plot in a weekend, an entire series in a weekend, and a 3 draft method that's going to save you a bunch of time when you actually do start writing it. I've listed the link below in the description, and I would love, love, love for you to support the channel. And honestly, it was just great writing these books, and I think you're going to really find the information helpful. So anyway, I will talk to you in the next video. Thanks for hanging out with me. All right, take care.